Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I want to do a little video talking about the shiny system and how it works in Coromon and why it's in general superior to other systems in my opinion, and so far the best I've seen. For those of you who don't know, Coromon is a story-driven Pokemon-inspired title by developer Tragsoft that sort of sets you out on a journey to defeat the 6 Titans and foil the plans of a shady cult known as Umbra Noctis. Throughout your adventure, you'll meet creatures called Coromon that you can capture in battle. It does sway from the Pokemon formula by having a stamina system as well as a general difference in tone. There is a playable demo on Steam and mobile, so I highly recommend you check it out. Anyway, so games like Temtem and Pokemon have a system by which you'll have a very low chance of encountering a different colored monster. Pokemon used to be about 1 in 8,000, now it's about a 1 in 4,000 chance, while Temtem used to be 1 in 4,000 and is now a 1 in 8,000 chance. These alternate color palettes have the same stat range, and the only notable difference between them and regular monsters is the sparkling that goes off when they're sent out and the different color palette. In Pokemon, they're called shinies, in Temtem they're called lumas, and in Kindred Fates they're called phantoms, etc. Now, one of the most frustrating things about finding one of these shinies or lumas or whatever is when they have terrible stats. I think it was Charlion who mentioned it over in the Kindred Fates livestream that there's nothing worse than finding a shiny that's basically boxed forever. Temtem tried to sort of mitigate this issue with always guaranteeing 3 perfect stat on every luma form, but it's still plagued by the fact that it could have a bad ability, which are unchangeable right now, or just other stats making it completely unusable competitively. In both cases, the games roll monsters' stats and shiny values separate. Coromon, however, takes these 2 rolls and combines them. Now let me explain more in depth. Coromon don't have individual values like Pokemon. They have one value that determines the Coromon's overall potential. So instead of having, let's say, an IV for attack, an IV for defense, special defense, etc., it just has one value that ranges from 1 to 21. Now this doesn't mean that you have a 1 in 21 chance for each value. They're weighted differently. Essentially, you have roughly a 1 in 40 chance to get a Coromon with a potential value of 17, 18, 19, or 20, and roughly a 1 in 3,000 chance to find one with a potential value of 21. I'm going to do a more in-depth video in the future on how the stats and whatnot work, like how Coromon replaces the effort value system by having 2 separate EXP bars, but we'll save that for another day. So why are these potential values important in the context of shinies? Well, Coromon with potential value of 16 or less are going to be the run-of-the-mill basic Coromon with no special color palette. If you find one with a potential value of 17, 18, 19, or 20, it'll be noted in-game and is referred to as a potent Coromon. As you can see, potent Coromon are a different color palette than regular Coromon. Then if you find a Coromon with a potential value of 21, it's referred to as a perfect and has a separate color palette from the other 2. So yes, Coromon actually has 2 types of shinies essentially, though I must note that they're technically not called quote-unquote shinies. They're called potent and perfect, like I said, but they function in that sort of vein, the same sort of concept, with the separate color palette sort of being more desirable. So why is this superior to the regular roll? Well, first, there are 2 shiny tiers, which is awesome, the more the better, I guess. But secondly, and more importantly, your shiny doesn't suck. The only complaint I can even see people having is that perhaps they prefer the non-shiny palette in one case or another and can't use it, because if they get a perfect, the perfect is always going to be shiny, whereas in Pokemon or Temtem, you could have a perfect mon that does indeed have perfect stats. This isn't really a deal breaker though, because if it really became a big issue, they could probably add an item that cosmetically changes the appearance of a potent or a perfect down to a standard. Like perhaps if you had a perfect, you can use the item to have the color palette of a potent or a standard, and if you had a potent, you can make it look like a standard. The only thing is when PvP becomes a thing, they'll end up causing issues where someone might have a potent or a perfect and they might be disguising it as a standard to make it look weaker. So they'd have to have some sort of indication that yes, this is a perfect, so people aren't sort of bamboozled in that way. All in all, this was a really short video, but I just really wanted to talk about how much I appreciate what Coromon has done to sort of curb the frustration of finding a shiny and it sucking forever. It's great to see that games like this are taking mechanics that we're so used to and improving them in such a way that perhaps most of us wouldn't even consider. But anyways, guys, with all that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you prefer this system, or do you prefer the separate roles that Pokemon and Temtem sort of have? If you did enjoy, make sure to subscribe. I got plenty more Coromon content where that came from, as well as monster taming content ranging from games like Kindred Fates, Temtem, etc. Until next time, peace.